Okay, so after a bit of playing and creating various circles and shapes, we have our finished character with IK, feet, and all the various controllers. So you can see here that I've still got the main controller, which moves everything, and I've got the root bone here, the pelvis, which controls everything except for the feet. And then we can work our way through all the various other bits and bobs. So a controller here that just shakes the tail, and the eyeballs here which select the eyeballs. So it just rotates them. It'd be easier if I could turn the grid on. So there they are, just rotating the eyes, and similarly, the jaw as well. So that's everything set up for the controllers. You might have noticed that the actual controllers are different colors rather than just the basic kind of blue that we always get. So that's quite easy to turn on as well if you want to give different things different colors. Just a simple case of going into the attribute editor, and there are various drawing override options. We're looking for the shape though, so if we find the control shape, there is drawing overrides on the control shape. Turn on enable overrides. Let's say we may as well keep the same color as the feet, and you've got the color index thing here. As you scrub through this, the various colors change, and let's try and find the same one that we used for the feet. So let's go with that one. And when you turn it off, it is now that color. So you can do the rest of them now that we've got them selected. There's that one, and lastly this one. So that is everything realistically set up, and there's no reason at this point you couldn't go ahead and do all the animations that you need with all the keyframes and all the feet moving and the IK, etc. Just turning kind of keyframes on and off and getting your character to move around. The runs, the walks, the idles, everything that you need. This is, like I said, on a few occasions, this is probably the simplest character setup. If you have done the demon character or the big heavy one, there's a few extra steps you might find handy, and we're going to take a look at a reverse foot control. So we can hide him for now, we don't really need him, and get rid of the controllers. So we've got the hound and the heavy guy basically just turned apart from each other here. We'll have a look at the hound first, then we'll have a look at we'll have a look at the heavy guy first, then we'll have a look at the hound. So just looking at this from the left view. When you're doing this, you might want to think, there's the start of the pelvis, down to perhaps kind of a knee area, down to the ground, and then the last bone there to use as a foot. Perfectly fine, you can do that. You can add an IK handle to there and there, moves around quite happily, and you can do the same thing we've done in the previous video to set up the flat foot by using the orientation constraint on this part here. That would be absolutely fine. If you want to come at it in a slightly different way, we can set up the start of the thigh and the pelvis area down to the knee, and instead of going down to the ground, we can go somewhere around where you think the ankle might be. So we'll do the ankle point, and then we'll go almost straight down to where we need the foot on the ground, and then just right click to finish that. So that's a bit of a different shape. The IK is still the same, so we still apply it to that. But the pivot point is now down at the bottom here. And if you want to try and get it on the ground, it's a little bit more difficult to move the foot around when you've got this up here. So it normally requires a little bit of extra effort to get the foot control working and a partial reverse foot. So we need to kind of set that up. Let's get him into place first, I guess. Just delete the IK handle first. I don't know, this is going to be fairly rough. No, you need to spend a bit of time doing this properly, realistically. Well, let's move that and go down. We'll have a look at the Comet script again. And Emax is X. That is up. And if we just select all of the bones and Y is whirled up, and we can show axes. So a little bit of confusion there. I mean, X is still going down, but it looks like, you know, Y is sticking out and then Y is sticking out that way. So it might be worth playing with a few of these just to kind of get it a little bit nicer, maybe. So that might be a slightly better way of looking at how the joints are working, maybe. Okay, let's apply an IK handle to it. See if we're bending. We are. That's great. Right, in order to get the IKFK foot to work, we also need to add just a single bone IK handle to this one joint. So if you add another one, first bone, last bone. So we've now got a single bone IK handle, and we can control the rotation of the foot with the IK handle now. We need to create a dummy, not a dummy, sorry, a controller. So let's just get a circle out of here. That should be pretty good for our purposes. And perhaps kind of get this in the middle of where the foot is. So just hold down D, V, snap the point, and then undo D again. So we've got a foot control now pivoting from somewhere near the center of the foot. Now you can be a bit more accurate with it, obviously. But now we want to get some controls so we can control basically the heel roll and the toe roll as well, and also the ankle roll. And that requires us to add a few more bones into this controller here. So if you go into a left view, zoom in a little bit, and we'll go to the bone tools again. So select one where you think it might need the heel control along to where you think you need the toe control, and then we can go back to the area here, which is the rotation point in the middle of the foot. So somewhere around there, and then we want to finish off up at the top here as well. So right click there. So essentially what we have here is a controller which allows us to control the various pivot points within this character's foot. So we have heel control now if we need it. If we move down, we've now got toe control. We've now got the center pivot control as well. So we need to move these into place. The best way to get this would be to snap the points to where we need them. So obviously we can try and line it up as best we can, first of all just manually. But it might be quite useful to snap these properly into place. Front one doesn't matter at the moment. But if we can get this one here, so hold down V, and that should snap to that bone there. And if you move down again, this one here, hold down V again, and we get it to snap to that one there. So we've now got a controller and the bones themselves. So we need to parent the bones to the controller. So child, then parent, and press P. So our controller now moves all of these controls around and the new joints. So what we need now is to constrain this joint here to the actual foot bone that you've got skinned. So it's quite an easy process. So first of all, let's find out which joint it is, or which IK handle. So that's IK handle 5, and the joint you want to assign it to is this very last one here, which is joint 13. Okay, so we've got joint 13 selected. Hold down Control and hit IK handle 5. So we've got the two right controls selected. Up to constrain, and we want a point constraint. So we want to basically keep the places together. You can have a look at the maintain offset thing again. If for some reason you didn't want this to line up, you could leave maintain offset on and it would keep that gap. But really we want these two to be on top of each other. So if you leave it off, if they are out slightly, they will snap. So we'll just click on apply. So there's the first one done. That's our original IK handle that we had going down the leg. And now we want the same thing with the IK handle we created down here. So that will be IK handle 6. And the bone that we want will be joint 12. So we've got joint 12 selected. Hold down Control, hit IK handle 6, and do the same thing again. So we'll add them. So now we've got the 2 point constraints. As we move this handle around, we've now got control of the leg as well. However, not only do we have control of the leg, if this was skinned, we've also now got control over how we want to actually animate the foot. So if you wanted to do the creature landing heel first, we can now animate the heel of this character, and you can kind of see how everything is bending along with it. If you wanted it to land toe first, we could select the bone at the front of the character, and we can now get it to pivot on his toe as well. So you can see here kind of that this is now starting to stretch a bit too far. But it is just a case of selecting that bone, and then we can now control how much this needs to move as well. One of the last things we can do is we've currently got this selected in the middle to rotate it this way, but because we've already got this bone here in the middle, we don't need it. So what could be more useful is that if we take this, press D, hold down V, and oops, my fault. We should now be able to take this controller to where the ankle is, turn off D, and we now have a pivot point as to where the ankle is. So you could keep this straight most of the time and just use the bones themselves to come in where you want the heel to land. You then get towards the end of your animation and you want the creature to peel its foot off as it walks off, then you've got the peel motion here as well. Obviously when you actually left the ground and the foot is somewhere up here, you can then just reverse this back down to where it used to be. And that's one way of doing a reverse foot control on the heavy character. So now we can take a look at the demon, dog, hound kind of character as well. And it's very similar to what we had, only this time obviously the foot is now off the ground. So we're only kind of really dealing with the foot and the toe. But the principles are exactly the same. If it's any good, we can use the IK and we can run straight through and that's fine. And the shape itself there actually works quite nicely with what you need. So you might just be able to get away with that, like we did with the ant or the light creature. Just create a foot and attach the foot, the orientation, to this thing here, and we want to be able to get away with that absolutely fine. But if you want to go a little bit further, like we did with the big heavy creature there, you might want to look at it in a slightly kind of better way. And this is normally the way that it's done in industry, rather than kind of trying to go through all three bones. It's normally set up this way, where you do control the thigh and the calf, and the foot and toe bones are all separately. If you were to take this to the nth degree, we'd have all the toes skinned as well, and you'd be able to kind of splay the toes apart and back together again, or you'd be able to raise each individual toe, or that kind of thing. But we don't need that kind of thing for this. So if we just have a look at the bone, select all the joints, we'll just move this away for a second. We don't need all that. So again, we can do something very similar with the leg here. So if we go into the left view, let's try and find it. And we need to create some new bones, this reverse foot. So if we go to the bones, let's say we need a heel. And this way, rather than kind of clicking on them and trying to, be fairly close with it, if you just hold down V, you can actually snap to the joint. So keep V held down. So we've snapped to that joint, snap to that joint, and then right click Ah, the save has killed it. Okay, 1 second. So we'll try that again. So we need the foot to start somewhere around there perhaps. Hold down V, click, click, and right click. So we've got a similar thing going on here as well. We need the foot to work. If we just select that bone there, press D, and we can drag it across to where we need it. Okay. Let's just quickly IK this foot. That should hopefully be that. It is. And again, let's create a controller. So surfaces. Go along to where we need it. Give it a slightly nicer shape, something a bit more suitable. Something like that perhaps. Okay. So let's select this bone, child, parent, and parent. So now we have this control working with what we need. And we need to basically assign the two IK handles now. So it's not just one IK handle now, it's now actually two IK handles. So select the joint IK handle. So there's one, then down to the second one. So there's one IK handle, and again, same bone. This is the one traveling down. This is the actual bones that we have skinned to our character, and not the new ones we've just created. So a little bit careful maybe in terms of making sure we select the right one, not that one. There you go. So there's our two IK handles. A little bit of a thought process to try and figure out what needs to be constrained to what. So if we start with this handle, so that's handle 8 we currently have. And the bone we want to attach it to is joint 17. So joint 17, handle 8. No, it's not. It's joint 18, isn't it? So joint 18, handle 8, sorry. Handle 8, constrain, and you want a point constraint still, so point. So we're looking at this IK handle, which is handle 9, and the bone we want is 17 now. So bone 17, IK handle 9, constrain, point. And the last one is handle 10, and the bone we want is joint 16. So joint 16, handle 10, and point constraint. So what we have now is something similar to what we had on the heavy character. We've got the overall foot controller now, but we've also got heel control, which is great. we've got toe control, if we need the foot to pivot on the toe. And we've also got foot control now as well. So we've now got the full heel toe rotation as well as rotation around the ankle. So if we just select the foot, W, D, hold down V, and we want it to go up to the ankle joint, turn off D again, and we've now got a rotation for where the ankle is. So that's two ways of being able to control the rotation of a foot that is off the ground, or similarly to where we had the heavy character, where we might kind of need it for just slightly better control as to where the bones would be. So realistically, that's probably as far as we need to go. I'm going to look into setting up IKFK manually, but that's not going to be good enough for us. I think we should be able to get away with as far as we need for this. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. Thanks very much.